What's up, everyone? MLS Aces Podcast, episode 226. This is your host, Tom Sweezy, and I think this might be the biggest, wildest news episode yet. We will get into the conversation that I have lined up this week with Monterey Bay FC utility man Sam Gleadle, but before that, there is a ton around MLS and US soccer that I have to chat about a little bit first. So apologies about probably the longer intro here, but there's just too much for me not to chat about over the past week of craziness. If you guys have not gone and listened to last week's episode with Michele Giannone, definitely go check that out. It was a great conversation about the midway point of the MLS season, MLS All Stars. We chatted a lot about Carlos Vela, LAFC, RSL. We gave SC Cincinnati and NYCFC some love in there as well, but definitely go and check out last week's episode and any of the other interviews we've had over the past few weeks. But let's chat MLS. Let's chat what happened this past weekend, this past week, because a lot of signings, a lot of coach movements, a lot of big time wins, a lot of crazy wins, crazy moments that are popping off within games. So, and I think I want to start with maybe an unusual team to talk about if we're talking about success on the field right now, and that's DC United. Last week, earlier in the week, I think it was a Monday night game, you have DC going out and beating Orlando City 3-2, and behind a Taxi Fontas hat trick, and Taxi has looked like the real deal. He just recently got named to be an MLS All-Star, so congratulations to him. But he has absolutely been tearing it up for DC. Unfortunately, him tearing it up on the field is not equaling wins or 3 points in the point column there for the MLS standings. And then after that 3-2 win against Orlando City, they go out over the weekend and lose 7-0 to the Philadelphia Union. And it was an absolute wild game for Julian Carranza, Mikel Uri, Alejandro Bedoya, Kai Wagner, Nathan Harrell. It was absolute. It was a murder out on the soccer field. And congratulations to Philly for doing that. But it's wild that shortly after earlier week success with a hat trick from your star player, then you go out in the weekend, you lose 7-0, probably one of the worst losses in MLS history. You get a head coaching announcement because DC United, as many people know out there, haven't had a full-time head coach since early on this season. And they bring back one of the legends of, he's probably not a club legend of DC, but he's a club legend maybe to like modern day DC fans. Wayne Rooney leaving Derby County earlier this year. And he's decided to come back to Major League Soccer, this time officially as the head coach of DC United back when he was a player. Honestly, I had the running joke on this podcast of he is the greatest head coach in DC history because of the stuff he was pulling off as a player, right? And what he was kind of leading and yelling and dictating on the field. So, he's officially, though, back as manager, or he's officially back, and now he is a manager of DC United. Just for people out there who like numbers, like stats, I like looking at numbers just to kind of, always bolster arguments, right? He had 84 games managed with Derby County in the English Championship, 25 wins, 21 draws, 38 losses. But the numbers don't really kind of play into what kind of challenges that Rooney had and what he overcame at Derby County. I'm not exactly sure of the specifics, but I do know that Derby had some type of point deduction. They had a lot of kind of behind the scenes, off the field stuff going on that would make it difficult for any manager to succeed, any team to succeed. And he had Derby at a point where, they were looking really good. They're fighting for the playoff. It's not something that is easily done. It's not something that as a manager you can easily just kind of get the boys riled up and get them out there to overcome. I think it was like a 16-point deficit or something like that they were initially slapped with. So Rooney did a fantastic job over there. He just felt like it was time for maybe a new manager, a younger manager to come in and take over the reins at Derby. And now he's coming back to DC. And, I don't expect it to be a long-term play where Rooney is going to be hanging around DC United for the next 10 years. But if he can kind of jumpstart his managerial career with like what Vieira did, Ronnie Dial has done, maybe he can jumpstart it with DC United and hopefully seeing more Taxi Fountas goals. But the next thing that I want to dive into, not going to talk about DC the entire time, is just want to give kudos to Austin FC. It kept the ball rolling this past week with 2 wins over Colorado and over Atlanta. And not to just glance over Austin, guys, you're killing it. You're in second place. Awesome, great bounce back year after last year. But Atlanta United, a team that is not killing it right now, a team that is struggling on and off the field, losing. And now you have star players, club legends, going out into the media and just saying that the guys wearing this jersey, they don't feel proud to wear this jersey. They shouldn't be wearing this jersey. And I'm sorry, I'm referring to Josef Martinez, who came out into the media after the last loss against Austin and was pretty much calling out his teammates, calling out the front office, saying that guys were just here being signed for business reasons rather than pride and everything like that. And if you look on social media, you can definitely see Atlanta United fans just being upset that this team present day isn't where they were a few years ago when they were winning trophies, when they were winning MLS Cups, Open Cups, Campeones Cups, whatever you want to consider. This team is a shell of itself in that sense. Miguel Almiron's gone, Tito Villalba's gone. Even guys like Brad Guzan and Miles Robinson, they're injured and they're not out on that field. And right now, it just definitely seems like and feels like it's Josef Martinez just trying to score, and if he doesn't, it's there's there's no one motivating him or no one really trying to kind of get the team back righting the ship on the field. So Josef is pissed off, and rightfully so. I have seen some MLS fans, some Atlanta United fans turning on Josef, saying it's time for him to go. I don't think that's what you want. I don't think you want your best player in club history ever, your star striker, your only star on the team right now. He starts saying that the club is doing wrong and he's been around since the beginning. I don't know if you're like, okay, now it's kick him out. No, how about you keep your star striker, the dude who can score on an instant? And I know he hasn't been that type of dude for the past 2-3 years since his injury, but he can be that dude. And maybe you bring in guys that motivated and kept the team together, like Michael Parkhurst back when they were winning championships. But this team just doesn't have that. The front office will do what the front office is going to do, and I just hope for Josef's sake that they can bring in more talent around him, more maybe leaders around him, because I think the talent's there. The injury bug this season is definitely a thing, but the talent's there. I think more leaders is definitely needed for this Atlanta United squad. The next thing is El Traffico happened this weekend. That was a ton of fun. No Chellini, no Bale just yet, no mystery third DP that is going to apparently play Sarango yet for this LAFC squad, but 2 goals from Jose Cifuentes, 2 assists from Carlos Vela, and LAFC, they pick up the win over their crosstown rival LA Galaxy, who they made it a game at the end. It was a pretty good game for all intents and purposes. There's no Zlatan midfield banger, but it was a good game overall. It was fun to watch as a neutral. I'm sure if you are a fan of LAFC or the Galaxy, you did not enjoy that. It was a little bit of a barn burner back and forth type of deal. Another kind of just wild moment or wild moments that I just want to mention from the past weekend. We got the Cucho Hernandez debut goal for the win for Columbus over Chicago. Hector Herrera debuted for Houston in their wild game against FC Dallas. They came back. I think it was the latest game winner ever from Teenage Hadebe or not game winner, I guess. Latest goal ever. I don't know. There was something about it was being the latest goal scored ever. I think it was that, but whatever. Teenage Hadebe scored a super late goal for Houston to tie things up 2-2 against Dallas. Big rivalry game. Houston fans brought the energy. I don't condone and don't support fans throwing stuff at players after they scored, but Jesus Ferreira scored earlier in the game. Houston fans were flipping him off, screaming. Again, don't condone the throwing of things, but I condone the rivalry energy that they brought. I'll word it as that, but it's good to see things kind of adapting and changing and kind of having some more interest around the club down in Houston. So definitely awesome to see that. I guess just some other major news headlines. Oh, I mean, Mark Anthony Kaye involved in another $1 million GAM trade, this time from Colorado back to his hometown of Toronto for TFC. So $1 million, and Ralph Prizzo goes to Colorado. Mark Anthony Kaye goes to Toronto, where they're building something, right? We haven't seen Insigne yet due to injury, but his debut's going to be around the corner soon. Mark Anthony Kaye going back to Toronto FC in the program where he kind of began his soccer career. Apparently Bernadeschi could be coming soon. They just terminated the contract for Carlos Salcedo, so that opens up another DP spot. Salcedo's reportedly going back to Liga MX. So a lot of interesting moving pieces for Bob Bradley and Toronto FC. I'm interested to see where it goes for the long-term future, because I think I said this last week on the podcast. I don't know if Toronto is fighting for anything in 2022, but 2023, they could be a scary side. And I guess the other major thing about Toronto that I haven't mentioned, Jesus, is Alejandro Pozuelo. Toronto traded Pozuelo to Inter Miami for $150,000 in general allocation money, which is an absolute steal for a former MLS MVP and a dude of Pozuelo's abilities. But what that does for Toronto in the short term, or I guess even for the long term, right, is you get something for Pozuelo because his contract was running out at the end of the season. But then at the same exact time, you get to open up a DP spot. Maybe that's a Bernadeschi spot. Maybe that's a Belotti spot. Maybe that's another Italian international coming to Toronto. I don't know. It's really exciting what's going on, but I really hope that with Salcedo gone, with Pozuelo gone, Toronto fans can at least get the Bernadeschi signing, and then we'll see, I guess, what happens with another DP spot and more money opening up. But Mark Anthony Kaye going there is exciting. Pozuelo to Miami is exciting because this seems to be Chris Henderson in Miami really moving in the right direction. You bring a dude who can play in front of Jean Mata and Gregor, and I think really unlock teams a lot and play even better, especially when you get the contract of Higuain off the field and you can really play with Campagna and a lot of these other guys that Miami's setting up. So I'm excited for it. I'm excited for Miami and Toronto there. I guess really the main other thing is the MLS All Stars were announced. Congratulations to the dudes who were named. I don't agree with every single name that made it, but I just want to kind of, I guess, list some notable omissions, I feel like. Mainly for me, it was Pablo Ruiz and Zach McMath from RSL. I think RSL should have been represented a little bit more for how well they've done this season. McMath, for me, has been one of the top 2-3 goalkeepers in the league. Pablo Ruiz, I think, to me personally, over Ilie Sanchez. Sorry, Michele on that. But I think he's definitely, not Pablo Sanchez, Pablo Ruiz, definitely deserving of a spot on the roster there. I really feel like Jack Elliott, Nathan Harriel they were duped. They should have been on the All-Star roster, but it's the All-Star game. If you want to hear my opinions more, again, go check out last week's episode with Michele to hear thoughts there. Tyler Adams went to Leeds. Luca De La Torre went to La Liga side Celta de Vigo. Congratulations to them. If that means they're playing regular minutes week in and week out at top level competition, then I'm happy because, heading into a World Cup, we need Luca, we need Tyler playing, getting the best competition that they possibly can, especially, when you're going to go play the best competition in an international tournament. The last thing that I want to say, and then we will get into my conversation with the Monterey Bay FC utility man, right back, right winger, whatever you want to call him, Sam Gleadle, is Luis Suarez. He's come out and he has said that he has had offers from 5 or 6 MLS clubs, and he's just weighing the offers, and he wants to be playing important soccer for an MLS club. That's cool. Luis Suarez, I think, is someone who would bring notoriety to the league, like a Gareth Bale-esque type signing. But at the same exact time, I think we've seen what Suarez has done in recent years. Yes, he's a little bit older, but I feel like he'll still bang in some goals. So if Luis Suarez is coming, then I'm excited to see it. But without further ado, guys, thank you for listening to my MLS ramble for 15 minutes. If you guys are, looking for more content like this, let me know what you're looking for. Let me know what you want me to talk about. I will talk about it. I'll answer questions. I will do whatever I can. I like interacting with people. Go follow me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at MLS Aces, and we can interact even more. But without further ado, here's my conversation with USL Championship Monterey Bay FC, right back, right winger, utility man. He can do it all. He can score. He can defend. Sam Gleadle, thank you. We are here with another episode of the MLS Aces Podcast. This week, I am joined by Monterey Bay FC's, I'm going to call him utility man, Sam Gleadle. Sam, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I am doing good. Finally glad that we can chat, we can talk on mic, and we can get a podcast episode in with you. But I mean, I want to talk, I guess, your career first. We'll start off with this season going on with Monterey Bay FC. How's the inaugural season been? How's a brand new club, brand new environment, fans, I guess everything going on internally as well? How's all that feel?
Yeah, it's been a first for me. Obviously, first time I played for a new club. And it's been good. I think they've handled everything that's been thrown at them as well as they could. Obviously, we've had a lot of ups and downs already, but yeah, I think we're in a good place finally now. Obviously, the stadium looks beautiful, and home games are nice. We had the first 7 games on the road, so that was a bit of a tough welcome to the league. But again, I think we learned a lot from it, and the home games have definitely helped settle us a bit. So I think this organization only has good things in the future.
I mean, that's a great point that you mentioned, like the stretch of road games, right? That kind of sucks, I'm sure. Just traveling city to city, wherever it may be. Like I can remember back a few years ago with like Nashville SC when they first made the jump from USL to MLS. They started off with like 12 straight road games or something like that. What does that do to like you guys in the locker room, physically, mentally, just to kind of know you're maybe counting down the weeks until you can play at home in your own kind of comfortable, setting. You're sleeping at your own home, whatever it may be.
Yeah, no, it was tough for sure, but we thought, if we can get anything out of this road stint, it'll strengthen us for the remainder of the season, and you get more of that out of the way early to where you have more time left to bounce back if that's what you need to do. Obviously, wish that we could have done a bit better. I think if you ask any of us, but we made it through. And like I said, we're improving every day and every week. So I think we learned a lot about ourselves. Found lots of stuff that we can continue to improve on. But definitely happy to be out of that 7-game stint.
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, you touched on it, right? It wasn't maybe the best start of the season for you guys. Form-wise, maybe wasn't great, but you're playing 7 games on the road. You guys have only had like a preseason together. You haven't had any real games up until that point. I'm sure there's a lot of challenges kind of leading into game 1 and then game 2 and kind of leading it down the stretch now. But you guys are starting to find a little bit of form now, which has been nice to see. 3 wins in your last 5? You kept 2 pretty close in the losses, but I guess, has anything changed besides the now home field advantage? Is it you guys just being a little bit more cohesive as a group now that you guys have kind of figured it out a little bit more, or I guess kind of anything has changed really?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it's a little mixture of everything. Knowing that we were close on some of those road games, and video and film, and seeing ourselves, and obviously we had lots of injuries, which I know all teams have. Things of that nature. I think tweak this, tweak that a little bit, and we can grow and learn from all these little things. And for the most part, guys have remained healthy now, and also getting to know each other and what we expect from each other, what the boss expects from us. I think just over time, it's naturally going to get better. And I think that's what happened for us. And again, we're still obviously not exactly where we want to be. So we still have work to do. But I think we just took little things from each challenge that we saw early on, have adapted and, started to put things together a little bit.
Oh, and I mean, that's great, right? And I think you guys have the locker room right now to take like your USL experience overall, to adapt, to grow, to be better, for the remainder of the season, right? Between guys like yourself, Kaye Green, Hugh Roberts, you guys have a lot of guys who have logged USL minutes and good, solid USL minutes.
Yeah.
Does that help, especially with some of the younger guys that you have who may have only played in USL League One, or who have just be making their kind of professional jump now?
Yeah, I think we have, like you said, we have a good mixture of guys, who have played a lot of games. Obviously, you mentioned a few. Obviously you got James Murphy and Moby Fair, and Chris Cortez, Christian Valesky. So we do have a lot of players who have played a lot of minutes here, and I think just bringing those little bits of experience from all over, and for example, Hugh in the East, that's a whole different ball game, whole different style. So bringing that in, just mixing it all together, I think has been pretty good. And again, that's something that different styles of play that we're bringing together here as well. So something that maybe took a little bit of time to get used to, but I think it's cool. And like you said, we do have a few younger guys as well with maybe less experience, but are just as hungry as the rest of us. So I think it's a good blend to have.
Well, stepping away from, I guess, the season overall as a team, you've been on a little bit of a hot streak yourself. 2 goals recently. Congratulations. How does it feel like? Does it feel like you're hitting into a different form of the season now? Or I guess, does it just feel different for you now, more comfortable within the system?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit of a learning going back into more of that attacking role.
Yeah.
Especially how we use those positions. Because obviously I've been a little bit further back for the last couple of years. So just getting back to use certain positions again has taken a bit. But again, just learning about where guys are looking to put the ball and where the coaching staff wants me to position myself. I think putting all that together and just gaining confidence every week and training throughout the week has helped me a lot. And yeah, I've been enjoying it a lot more, and the positions I'm finding myself in are a little bit more exciting. So hopefully I can continue that to give myself, the opportunity to put a few more in.
Well, to give a little context to the listeners and the viewers of this, a few months ago, Sam, you were gracious enough to give me some time to get information for a blog piece for the website that we put out, kind of more speaking about your career overall, and we're going to dive a little bit into that. So, Sam, sorry for the repeat questions, but we'll get into that for the listeners. But obviously, your time back from Reno to going into your time training with Minnesota to then San Antonio to where you are now, you've played all of it, right? You've gone wingback, fullback, midfielder, winger. Now you're, like you said, you're going from a little bit more of a defensive role the past few years to now you're getting back up into the attack. I feel like you're just playing all over that right side of the field, though, overall. Do you see yourself as a specific position, or do you like that you are you a little bit of a utility man for clubs?
I think, yeah, obviously I like that I'm able to cover a wide variety of positions. I think that helps any player, and I think any player would like that. For me personally, if I had to choose a favorite position for me, it would probably be in that right back or right wing back position. But if you look how much I've played right back, it's not that much. I've been mostly on the left, but I'm confident in both feet for the most part as well. So, if a team needs me on the left side, I have no problem shifting in there.
I mean, look, wingbacks are a growing part of the game. You look at like a Trent Alexander-Arnold, you look at like a Serginho Dest, right? Guys like that who are just very impactful from the back line, getting up and down both sides of the field. I feel like it's where the modern game of soccer is going nowadays. So you're that perfect fit, Sam.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely a position that's changing and having more eyes on it. And it's never going to be a glamour position, like your wingers and your forwards and number 10s. But I think it's definitely changing a little bit, and teams are changing their system. So we'll see.
Well, to dive back into your history a little bit again, repeat questions here for the podcast. You've had an interesting line of head coaches that, I was taking a look back, right? Most notably is probably Adrian Heath during your time with Minnesota, right? The Everton legend. He was successful back in USL back in the day as with Orlando City. Then, with your time with San Antonio, Alan Marcina, Ian Russell, you've also had Frank Yallop now. You've had a lot of very notable head coaches around the U.S. soccer, I guess, world. What about, I guess, these your coaches overall has really developed you to lead you to where you are today? Is there one that stands out to you more? Is there a lesson that any of them have taught you more than the other, I guess?
Well, I think I have to say mostly it has to be Ian Russell. Obviously, he's a coach who I was playing under for 3 years. It was my first professional contract. He's the one who really made me work, for different things. And as every young player coming in, you think you're ready just to jump in. And whether I was or not, he held me back. He really helped me learn a lot. And he's the one who suggested that I take a look at the outside back position. That's the first time I ever played that. And obviously I was pretty successful at it that last year in Reno. So just learning a lot from him and the way that he took the time to help me develop and, help me to try and make that jump to the MLS. I got along with him really well. And I think, anyone who's been coached by him would say similar things.
Awesome. I mean, look, when I was going through it, the accolades of your head coaches are ridiculous, right? You have MLS Cup champions, USL Cup champions, guys who have been just legends at their clubs for their careers, right? It's insane going back and taking a deeper dive look at it. But I guess also just speaking present day, Frank, how is he different, right? Because he's one that has had a much longer coaching career than a few of your other head coaches. He's been an MLS head coach before. He's been an MLS coach for a long time now. He's taking over this kind of dual role with Monterey Bay. How has he been as a manager year one?
Yeah, I think he's been good. I think he's very patient. I think he has a bit more of a calm coaching style approach, which I would say a lot of the guys appreciate here. He's patient with learning, teaching the guys, maybe shift this about your game or just, positional wise, do this. But he's very, very, he tries to fill us with confidence every game. And like we said, we had that hard first 7-game stretch, but, he was trying to stay positive, find the positive things about each game. And he's just a happy guy. He's experienced a lot as you said, as a player and as a coach. So being able to learn anything from him in any aspect of the game is definitely a privilege.
You've like I said, you've had him as a guy who's been able to coach on both sides. You've had Adrian Heath, who's been a guy who's been able to coach on both sides, and by both sides I mean MLS and USL. You've had Ian Russell and Alan who have been strictly on the USL side. Do you see I guess anything personality wise, or maybe it's just time spent head coaching, a difference between the guys who have coached at a little bit of a higher level compared to the first division compared to a second division type deal?
Yeah, I don't know. I think all the coaches have different styles and different methods to everything. I wouldn't say that anything stands out. This is why he's here. Obviously, Frank and Adrian have had that massive playing CV behind them.
Yeah.
And they've both done pretty well as managers to date. But Alan and Ian are both high quality coaches as well. So yeah, I don't know. It could just be the length of the coaching career, but all have different styles. So I think it's all about the connections and the fit of a potential club for them to maybe move them up.
Like, I don't know if you play Football Manager or not. I'm a big Football Manager guy. It's about more years of coaching underneath you. You get the respect. That's all it is. That's all it is.
You're climbing through the ranks.
I want to talk to you a little bit about your time with Minnesota, right? Adrian Heath and that crew that you had the time that you were there. But it's a very talented team. Obviously, you guys made that run in the MLS Cup Western Conference playoffs. Was there anyone in training who you watched or you were able to kind of defend or play against, whatever, who you were just like, whoa, like this dude's on a different level? I'll even target that even more, like Babelo Reynoso, right? Like obviously, world-class talent. When he came to Minnesota, the world blew up, I felt like, in U.S. soccer. How was training against him or anyone else that stands out to you?
Yeah, no, he's the first person that I would say, he's different gravy, as you'd say. Whenever I watch games now, I tell people, keep your eyes on him during the game.
Yeah.
His awareness and his ability on the ball is crazy. Another one, Robin Lod. He's a high quality player. Obviously, he plays for the Finnish national team. So, but yeah, I thought the level of everyone there was very, very high. And as you said, they had a very good season that year. So everyone was clicking, and everyone says they're a team who needs a number 9, this and that, but always find a way, to make it to the playoffs and hopefully do a little bit of a run. So, they have a lot of quality for sure.
Everyone says, like, I feel like in any sport in the States, overseas, whatever, that like when you go from like high school to college, it's like the major thing that kind of knocks players out from being able to be good at the game is the speed of the game. You go from college to the professional ranks then, and again, the speed of the game is just a different switch. Is there a difference in like the speed of the game between USL and Major League Soccer when you've just been in those training sessions, seeing guys like Reynoso compared to maybe a kid coming out of college playing for their first professional, club within USL? Like, do you see it just as the speed of the game? Is it the mindset? Is it just, I don't know. Like, do you see anything like that?
Yeah, there's always going to be that natural gap of pace and everything. But yeah, I think a lot of it is the mindset. It's the confidence going in, and you're there for a reason. You've been brought in for a reason to show qualities that they've seen in you. So I'd say that's the biggest piece is going with that mindset that you can perform there, and do all the little things correct, and everything else will come together. So yes, there is definitely a jump in level as far as the speed of play and the movement you need and your awareness of space. But yeah, I'd say the mindset going into these things is definitely as important as that.
Okay. My last MLS question for you that I have. When a few years ago, when Kevin Molino was back playing with Orlando City and Kaká first came over, Kaká said in training Kevin Molino was doing stuff on like a world-class different kind of level. Like it was a really random like news clip that came out one time of like just Kaká praising Molino. Obviously, again, you were in training, you were in the locker room with a guy like Kevin Molino. Was he like that kind of different kind of player?
Yeah. So someone that I forgot to mention in my time there. That was a training session when we did a possession drill, and Ray and Kevin were on the same team.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody touched the ball besides the two of them. And I mean, even on their own team, the two guys were just passing and moving around everybody. So yeah, 100%. He's a competitive guy. Yeah. And an aggressive player, and his quality obviously is very, very high. So seeing the two of them when I first arrived was definitely like a whoa.
Honestly, that playoff cup run that you guys had between Molino and Reynoso, like just they could have just played 11 guys on their own. It feels like at certain points they were just absolutely on fire. But
yeah,
no, I mean like that's awesome to hear. Just because like when that came out, I was like, Kevin Molino, I mean, he's really good. I like him. I have nothing against Kevin Molino. I just didn't think like Kaká would be, singing his praises, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
No,
Good to hear.
When he's in the mood, definitely. Definitely.
Awesome. Well, let's shift things up. I know you're an Arsenal man, so I'm gonna bring it up. Are you happy with the 5th place finish and the Europa League spot?
Yeah, I was telling someone the other day, like if you had told me that's where we'd finish at the beginning of the year, I definitely would have taken it. I think the way it happened and some of the results we had late in the season when we had control of that 4th place, and even potentially, catching Chelsea in 3rd, that's why it's a little bit disappointing. And I was upset about how it ended, but reflecting on the whole season, yeah, I'm I'm pretty happy about it, and some of the things that you're hearing, it gets you excited too. So yeah, I'm pretty happy.
I mean, I gotta hear it. Gabriel Jesus. Are we happy about it? Are we, is this the type of move you want to see Arsenal making right now?
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I think he's energetic. He's obviously played in a system where football is a big emphasis, and obviously Arteta has worked with him previously. So yeah, I think it's definitely, and he's young. He scored a lot of goals, played a lot of games in the Prem, and he's still 23, I believe. So I think it's definitely a good signing for us.
It's absolutely insane. Like, I'm starting to like watch soccer now, and like you said, Jesus, he's 23. Like, I'm 26, and it's just like he's like I don't know. In my brain, it's not 3-year difference isn't much, but it's like he's a kid at this point, and I'm like at 23, I was doing stupid shit, but here he is. Are you an Arteta guy? I know, like, I'm not an Arsenal fan, but I know a lot of Arsenal fans. I feel like it's a mixed crowd of like, are we pro Arteta or are we against them? Get him out.
I would say I'm for him. I'm for the project and the vision that seems to have been implemented at the club since his time here.
Yeah.
But I do think that this transfer window is pretty big in terms of, are they going to, obviously I know it's not solely his decision, but are we serious about it? Is this actually the plan, to bring in a few pieces that we need to bring in? Because if we don't, it's going to be, the same stuff. It's going to be the same heartbreak as we have every year. So I think we need to kind of see a little bit of backing up of the words. So I am Arteta in.
You are Arteta in. Got it.
I think we need to see some improvements though.
Well, let's have you guys also hang on to Saka. Let's hang on to Martinelli. Let's hang on to the young talent too. It's not about just the players coming in. Let's make sure you hang on to the talent. But funny you actually brought the transfer window, because I wanted to talk a little bit about, obviously American podcast. Arsenal's made some American signings within the last few windows. Matt Turner coming over from the Revs to Arsenal this summer. Austin Trusty, he just got purchased and loaned back to Colorado. Who knows if Austin's ever going to play for Arsenal? Yeah, but you have that ownership between Colorado and Arsenal being the same. Do you feel like there is obviously that major jump going from Major League Soccer to the Premier League into a club like Arsenal, but do you feel like that there maybe is a style of play that Major League Soccer or American soccer players or whatever it may be kind of have maybe some type of advantage to do well, at least if they train well and perform well with the club like Arsenal or any Premier League club?
Yeah, I think that a lot of money and is being put into facilities here and scouting and training more from a young age here now, which is good. And I think we're starting to see, last couple of years, a lot more players making that jump.
Yeah.
So I think that's investing in the youth and the infrastructure of clubs here is really big in helping that. I think the league is pretty physical here. I think a lot of those traits, the pace and the tackles and stuff, I think that's something that they can take over to other leagues. Obviously, you got some countries that I don't think that fits, but I believe the U.S. has players that have the talent that maybe make the jump to those types of countries as well. And the U.S. is so big that all the different styles, as long as a player is performing well enough, I think there's somewhere where they can find the place that fits them best. So I think that being a factor in the size and the amount of players that the U.S. has, I think that's an advantage for the States. And I think a lot of players are starting to look and make the jumps over there, and clubs are starting to invest in them early and seeing the return for these transfers. So I think it's all positive for sure.
So what I'm hearing is Matt Turner becomes the starting goalkeeper for Arsenal, and Austin Trusty's the starting center back. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah, we'll see about that. My boy Ramsdale seems to have that locked down.
I'm a Bournemouth guy, so I do love Ramsdale. It's nice to see him succeeding at a much bigger club. So I'm happy to see it. I want to talk to you a little bit about the USMNT. Obviously, you've been in the United States for a very long time. I'm sure you have, your fandom of watching US games, maybe not as much as England, but I'm sure you take in enough of it. Right now with Greg Berhalter's system, the wing backs, the fullbacks, kind of like what we mentioned before, definitely play a huge role. Anthony Robinson, and then whoever's playing right back, Dest, Reggie Cannon, whoever it may be, DeAndre Yedlin, they're all getting up into the attack and being asked to do a lot, I think, within Greg Berhalter's system. I guess as a wingback, how do you feel like you guys impact the game overall? Like, what does Anthony Robinson or Serginho Dest, DeAndre Yedlin, whatever it may be, what do they do to really, I guess, impact the game in the final third? Because you're asked to get up into the attack a lot.
Yeah, I think that ability to join the attack and also get back and defend. I think especially Robinson, I think he's performed very well. And, every time I watch the national team and he's in, I think he does well. He's very direct, very powerful. He doesn't do, at least with the ball passing wise, I think he's pretty simple with it. And then he takes more of the risk on the dribble or, a little 1-2 maybe. But yeah, I think just the pace and the strength that all those wingbacks have really helps the play, and get the ball in good areas. And, they're always pretty solid in the central midfield, I think. So having these pieces now wide, I think it really helps the game and to get the ball into more dangerous areas for them. So yeah, I think it's exciting. Like you said, they have a few different pieces. Obviously, Dest brings a little bit more technical ability, I'd say. Obviously, he's very good on the ball. So it just gives them lots of options, I think, depending on who they're playing.
And do you think, like you mentioned it, right? Like Anthony Robinson, he makes the very smart, easy passes, right? He's not trying to force a ball to create a turnover, which he's going to get caught out of position and kind of get screwed the other way, right? Do you think that positioning as a wingback who is being asked to do a lot, is being asked to constantly get up and down the field, do you think positioning plays like, I guess, a more of an important role, or is it just like understanding your ability and just adjusting your game to it?
Yeah, I think obviously how fit you are, how quickly you're able to get back or to join the attack. But yeah, obviously you have to be smart. You have to think, oh, the ball's on the other side of the pitch. What are the chances of it coming to me? How aggressive and how high up the field do I need to get? Do I kind of pick a middle ground role? That way, if we lose the ball, I'm able to help the back line, or if I'm in a certain area, I'm able to repress right away if we turn the ball over, stuff like that. Again, every team's different. Coach might want the weak-sided wingback to be the edge of the box, or whatever it is, whatever style of play he wants. But yeah, definitely, I think you need to know yourself and where to put yourself during different situations.
Okay. Very cool. I have one final question, and then I'm going to roll into some listener questions that I got on social media. My final question is, who you're rooting for, USA, England, this World Cup in Qatar?
England, for sure.
Okay, well, then see you later, Sam. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, no, it's always England, for sure.
Got it. Okay. Let's roll into these questions. So this is from John Morrissey at USL Tactics on Twitter. He pretty much just wanted to know, obviously he's a huge USL fan. He pretty much just wanted to know what you're seeing as the differences for an expansion team like Monterey Bay right now versus like a long tenured staff or organization like San Antonio or Reno that you've played for.
Yeah, I think just kind of figuring out the style of play that the coaches want with all the different pieces. And, obviously he doesn't know how we're all going to play together. So, they might have to shift their tactics or the style of play slightly. So I think just that initial gelling of everything, obviously plus with us, you got the facilities as well that we were waiting to get finished. So just kind of the settling feeling of, this is home, let's make this our fortress, a comfortable place. So I think throwing all of that in together makes it difficult, all in the new environment with new fans, with new partners, everything that gets thrown together. And then you're just expected to go perform. So obviously that's pretty challenging, but at the same time, I think we all think it was pretty exciting, and, we're happy to be a part of it. yeah, I'd say just throwing all that in the mix together with a bunch of people who haven't worked together before
Yeah.
makes it tough.
Okay, awesome. And I'm gonna roll into this question from Harry on Twitter. I'm gonna alter it a little bit just because I feel like we've answered it, but I have a little bit of a twist to it.
Okay.
Obviously, you've played at 3 different USL clubs now. You know, you've kind of touched on how Monterey has been different, but do you see a uniqueness in all 3 of the clubs that you've played for, or does USL kind of like to have the club set up in a certain way for there to be similarity for players across clubs?
Yeah, I think there's always similarities, but for me, obviously, Reno at the time was sort of a second feeder team to San Jose
Yeah.
Earthquakes at the time, so that was a different experience for me. Having guys come down, some guys go up, like lots of interchange there. Um, then we matched their playing style. My final year there, playing the man-to-man, so that was different. San Antonio was very high intensity, high performance culture. Um, the fan base, I feel like, was a little bit bigger because they were the independent team, so the fans and the support were really, really cool. A football specific stadium opposed to the baseball stadium at Reno. And then here, like you said, Monterey is a gel of everything being a brand new team. So I think each team does have something unique. They have the unique history, different things that they like to do. But I think that's the cool part about football, especially here in the U.S., that you have a lot of things to take from each team.
I didn't realize you were at Reno. I guess the first year last year at Reno was Mateus Almeida's first year with San Jose, kind of doing that man marking style and system. What, from a player's point of view, was that successful? Like, did you like that? Was that, I guess, sustainable for a long term? Because I feel like when you watch San Jose under Mateus Almeida, it was such a hot start to a season, or they had such really good stretches where they were playing like best soccer in the league. And then towards the end of the season, like I feel like guys were just drained. Like energy just wasn't there because of that man marking style. Is that accurate, or I guess kind of could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, well, my second year there, we were practicing it a little bit, but we
Yeah.
never implemented it for games. And then, yeah, that third year, we were told, oh, we're going to do this. We're going to copy the first team essentially. Yeah, I mean, we didn't know how it was going to be for us. We thought, you know, it's something that all the players have to commit to. If you have one person or two people on the team who aren't doing it, you can't put them on the field because it is such a, I guess it is, you could say it's more high risk, but if one person gets beat, it's an issue and you have to kind of almost scramble. But honestly, that was my first year playing fullback as well when we did the man to man, and honestly, I loved it as a player. I think, I don't know if I'm sure it's different in the MLS. Obviously, you have the higher caliber players and higher resume players in the MLS, but yeah, I think we took teams by surprise a little bit. Like they didn't know how to prepare for it.
Yeah.
Even if you watch video, it might be hard to pick out little things that we do and little triggers that we had. And we had the best record across the whole USL that year. We were unlucky in playoffs, but yeah, I think everyone bought in, and for the most part, it's pretty black and white. That's your man. You stick with him.
Yeah.
If this happens, you do this. So yeah, I personally enjoyed it, and I think if you find the players that are willing to do the work and buy in, I think it could be a good way to play.
Okay, interesting. Because I feel like from looking on it from an outside point of view as just like a guy on a camera watching it, right? Like it maybe have a different connotation than maybe to like a player who's actually doing it, right? So interesting to hear. Awesome. I have 2 more questions for you from fans. This one may be a little bit personal. Haley Gleadle sent in a question on Instagram. Your lovely wife. She wanted me to ask you about Matchday Reels. She said you really enjoy them and you want to talk about them.
Yeah, she's laughing in the background right now. She knows which one's being asked. Yeah, no, we started this in San Antonio that we usually do a game day reel, based on whatever's trending and then or whatever on TikTok or Instagram. And yeah, it is fun. I do enjoy it. It gets us being creative, which I'm not great at, and something that she is. So it gets me being creative and just laughing with her and we hope that people enjoy watching it. So there'll definitely be more.
That's love. That's love. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. One final question for you. This comes from Bradley Palonsky. I hope I said that right on Twitter. He really just wanted to ask, how was your time at Reno? He's a big Reno fan. He liked that, obviously he liked that you were playing many different positions on Reno. I guess from a fan's point of view, maybe, he liked seeing you, that you were versatile. You you could be especially a nice depth piece across all lines, because USL, obviously there's not maybe a ton of depth at all positions. But he wanted to just see how was your time at Reno. Like, you enjoyed it. I know you spoke highly of Ian Russell before.
Yeah, no, I think even during my time there at Reno, they improved the facilities a little bit during our time there, and they really, I think, improved the club. And it was a place that players enjoyed coming and playing for Reno. Obviously, it's sad that the club's time was up and they had to fold. But yeah, I think the fan base there, really loyal fans, really really energetic, and I think they're missing the football now, unfortunately. But as I said, over my 3 years there, by the time that third season was over, I think there was a lot of improvements from every aspect of the club, and I felt very comfortable playing there. And I believe that all the other teammates I had would say the same thing. And obviously, our record showed. I think we won a lot of games across all my time there. I mean, I made playoffs every year. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it, and I hope Brad and the rest of the crew is doing well.
He wanted me to ask, how is Big Head's recovery coming along? He said you'd get the reference. I don't get the reference, but he said, how is his recovery coming along? And does he plan on pursuing the opportunity of playing competitive or professional soccer career of his own?
Yeah, so that's my little brother. That's his name on Twitch. So
Big Head.
Yeah, Big Head Gleadle. So if anyone listening is a streamer or likes to watch that, he's on there quite frequently. And he just had surgery on his ankle. He picked up an injury in the game quite a while ago. Actually, it's been a long process for him, but he's hung in there. He had the surgery and it was successful. So we're thankful for that. And yeah, he definitely wants to give it a go to play. So just going to do the recovery and the rehab and start getting back into it, and hit the combines and the trials and get some training in like that. So hopefully we'll have 2 Gleadles playing somewhere soon.
Okay, well, get better soon, Big Head. And Sam, thank you so much. I seriously appreciate the time coming on here, chatting a little bit about your career, international soccer, Arsenal, everything that kind of goes along with it. Obviously, I'm rooting for you. We're rooting for you to have a successful rest of your season with Monterey. And anytime you want to come back, you're always more than welcome. Thank you again, Sam.
Awesome, Tom. Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And I can always chat about football. So whenever you need me.
Awesome. Thanks.